It's the end of the year, and there were a bunch of new line items added to the Xactimate price list this year. Let's take a look, Whatley, at the top 5 new line items added to the Xactimate price list in 2022. Let's start with number 5, PLM PTD, Plumbing Drain Line Water Pressure Test line item. This was added to the price list in April of 2022. Whatley, why is this number 5 on our list? What impact does PLM PTD, Plumbing Drain Line Water Pressure Test, have on claims?
So large loss. If you are doing a scraper and you're building back up, you're going to need to pull a permit for all of your plumbing. And in my experience, that building inspector is going to want to come out and test the supply lines, both the water and natural gas. And by the way, we've had that line item for years, PLMPT, and that was for pressurized testing of those lines. But also what is customary is building inspectors will have you test the drains. And actually, this is where more problems actually emerge in my experience, but they'll have you block the lateral and then you fill up like the bathtub and the sinks. And then this is especially like it's easier, like if there's a crawl space, right? You can see if anything's leaking, but they have you fill that up and then you have to wait 15 minutes and they see if the water line's gone down. They like draw it with a marker on the bathtub and see if it's gone down over that period of time. If it's gone down, then you have a leak. That's a problem you got to deal with. Point is, you're not going to be able to get your utilities back, get your red tag pulled, unless this is done. This is stuff restorers have been doing for decades, and now there's a line item. So if you're doing it, bill for it. Big line item.
And that's why it's number 5 on our list of top 5 new line items this year. All right, let's take a look at number 4. I know it's one of your personal favorites. DRY WDR, drywall window return up to 6 inches. We had a lot of conversations about this line item in August of 2022 when it was added. Whatley, what is the purpose of the drywall window return line item here?
Well, I don't know, man. I figured like the best way to show you what it is just to show you. So if I turn here and I keep yelling at you, you're going to have to talk.
I got it. It's that thing right there.
When you have a tilt up commercial building, like the walls maybe have 10 inches of depth to them. And so you need a drywall return, which returns into the window. And so often when you're billing for that in a commercial environment, I've seen invoices from other contractors outside of Xactimate. They go ahead and outline that by linear footage for what their drywall returns are. So that was understood by the pricing department and they added that. But one caveat is this is for commercial applications in almost all cases. So don't get too excited. There is a 6 inch and there's also a beyond 6 inch here for greater than 6 inches for this window.
WDR
return.
greater than sign, yes.
But it's traditionally commercial line item or like a very custom build on the residential front. But it's very odd that you'd have an exterior wall that's like 10 plus inches in a residential environment.
And we've seen Xactimate's price list be more friendly to commercial related activities and line items over the last couple of years. And that's how DRY WDR ends up at number 4 on our list of top 5 new line items. Number 3 here, WTR CTTL, tear out non-salvageable tile, countertop, and bag for disposal. Now, Whatley, we chose this line item, but this WTR demo-related line item is really representative of all the new WTR line items related to shower and tile demo. We, in the price list, did not have enough options in the WTR category before 2022 to deal with shower demo and alike, especially in program environments where they want you to stay inside of WTR category and WTR line items in mitigation invoices. So what do we see here? We now have WTR line item for a tile countertop removal and bagging for disposal, as well as an array of other line items, bagging, no bagging, in this WTR CTTL section. Thoughts on the impact of having these new shower and tile demo line items in the WTR category?
Yeah, just be sure to include all of those related line items. That's how you're going to demo a shower. There's a separate one for demoing the curb. Let's say a bench, as I recall, the shower pan itself, the wall assembly. Those are all different line items. So you might need a collection of 4 or 5 to capture all of those activities. Oh, and don't forget the removal of your glasswork as well. So one thing leads to another. But yeah, I think that those were great additions. It was really unclear how you would bill for demoing a shower until this year.
And if you want more information on the other WTR shower tile demo line items, these were all added in March of 2022. You can go back to our March 22 video of the price list update summary for that month. All right, number 2, Whatley, this was quite honestly, one of the biggest adoptions this year and in the past couple of years, but it does come in at number 2. RFG ADDRF, additional layer of felt / underlayment, remove and disposal. Whatley, we've had a line item request form on our website for years. It's a place for us to get feedback from the industry about what line items do not exist that potentially should. And one of the most popular requests to us, and I know the pricing department has heard this request for years, is we need a line item to remove an additional layer of felt. That request has been out there for years. Now, finally, in March of 2022, this year, this line item, RFG ADDRF, was added to the price list. We've seen a number of changes to this line item in the months since it's been released, mostly clarifying what actually is an additional layer of felt and underlayment, clarifying that it must be nailed in order for this line item to be appropriately used within a scope. Of course, when a very popular request actually happens, it is often used, it is often abused, and there are guardrails set in. Dry Patch J and its adoption in May 2018 would be another example of big line item added that's necessary. People use it properly, people abuse it improperly, and guardrails are kind of set up in the additional item information. But we have it. The line item exists. What are your thoughts on that now having a line item for removing an additional layer of felt or underlayment on the roof?
I was never passionate about this line item. It's hard for me to understand why our membership kept pontificating about why it was so necessary.
But a reminder, this is the most vocal part of the industry and our membership. So even if you didn't get it, Bill, be happy to tell you in the comments below why it's necessary.
All right. Well, you got it. It's like a couple cents a square foot. I don't know. There you go. You got what you asked for. And I hope that it didn't just create more opportunities for adjusters and contractors to argue about something else. Like a lot of these line items, when they're adopted, they constrain arguments, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the case in this particular situation?
Hard to say.
Hard to say. So, yeah, we might have gone in 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but good luck out there with your additional layer of felt. You can bill for anything, but like, is it worth it? Like, okay.
If it's nailed in, there's a line item for it to accommodate the cost.
Now I need supporting forensic photography. Yes. It shows me that the felt was nailed in.
Yes.
It's not easy to come by.
Not usually.
So anyhow, good luck.
Okay. Coming in at number 1 of our top 5 new line items in Xactimate in 2022, we have a tie. Well, we couldn't pick just one because these 2 line items came together. They were the only 2 line items added in May of 2022, which to us is probably the biggest impact to the price list, not only this year, but years past and years to come. Like, how can you have a new line item impact price lists of the past? It's because it's such an important line item. There's 2 of them here: Fee Scan 3D and Fee Sketch. First, Fee Scan 3D is for a 3D geospatial scan. This is for both interior or exterior geospatial scans. So we're talking Matterport. If you're performing Matterport scans and you're looking to invoice for the cost associated and the value associated with providing that service to the claim, then you have Fee Scan 3D. It is a bid item. Xactimate is not dictating what the price is to perform a scan for a claim in any particular region. It's simply a bid item that exists for contractors and adjusters to have the conversation around the value and cost associated with performing geospatial scans in helping settle the claim. Any thoughts on Fee Scan 3D?
Fee Scan 3D, yeah, it just relates to geospatial. That's going to be applied to the interior exclusively because there really isn't geospatial scans for the exterior at this point.
The additional item information does point out exterior, and they would say drone scans and the like. So if you're hiring a drone service,
not really geospatial.
True, but that's what this line item is supposed to be used for now, interior or exterior.
Because we're going there. So the pricing department is reaching into the future. We will have, as an industry, geospatial scans for the exterior performed by drones within the next 3 years. That will become customary. You can get one currently, but it's crazy expensive. And the drones that do it are like $100,000 and they're super hard to come by.
And to clarify, that's different than just taking pictures with a drone of the roof. We're talking an actual geospatial scan.
Yeah, the images have to be stitched together.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a thing. Anyhow, so traditionally for the interior, so you've got two predominant players there. You got Matterport and DocuSketch for the interior. So there's your geospatial scan.
Yeah, if you're performing scans, there's your line item for it. Now, on the other side, Fee Sketch, SKTCH, digitally derived third-party sketch, also a bid item. This would apply to anytime you're ordering a sketch from a third party that is providing that sketch as a service to the claim. We're talking Matterport's True Plan. We're talking about Hover. We're talking about Eagle View. Often, I mean, while we've talked about when we train, there's a 10-year precedent of carriers adopting third-party sketches when it comes to exteriors. Why? Because it's accurate, because humans don't need to go on the roofs to be able to capture that information and generate those sketches. Robots have gotten better at sketch than we are as humans. And will continue to get better over time.
I think the real reason is carriers can pay for it and it still reduces their true cost to adjust because they're not arguing with the contractor about the merits of whose sketch is more accurate. And they're not sending out their adjuster to actually create the sketch themselves, etc. So
value.
The industry recognizes this as a more efficient way to do things for the exterior that has been very established, like Harrison said, for a decade. Now that has moved to the interior of the properties. It doesn't really make sense for adjusters and contractors for large loss to be
arguing about sketching and measurements and accuracy.
Well, even sketching themselves. I think that those mundane, repetitive tasks should be left up to machines, and our audience should be looking for opportunities to race with the machines and
embrace,
not rage against them, because you're probably going to lose. So this is better done by a third party, and carriers understand that and generally pay for it. It doesn't mean in program work, if you're submitting your true plan, let's say, don't expect to get paid every time unless you negotiate that with the carrier. But there's just a lot of precedent for these digital assets, helping the carrier to arrive at an accurate total underwritten loss value and actually constrain the two costs to adjust.
Dude, 100%. Scans and sketches come in at number one of the top new line items added to Xactimate in 2022. Why? People have been performing these scans while they have known contractors and adjusters using Matterport for more than 7 years. There's never been a line item for it. You and I at Actionable created an invoicing template, an insight sheet to try to guide the conversation on if you do choose to invoice for Matterport and alike and True Plan, True Sketch before that. Here's how you can approach that conversation. But now, thanks to these two new line items, they exist in the price list and they're designed as bid items for contractors and adjusters to have the conversation about the cost associated with and the value associated with providing 3D geospatial scans and ordering third-party digital sketch assets to the claim. Boom! That's it, Whatley. There's our top 5 new line items added to the Xactimate prices in 2022. I was a big fan of a lot of them, but these 5, I think, will be the most impactful, not only this year, but moving forward in the years to come as contractors, adjusters continue to settle claims. All right. Anything else, Whatley?
Keep building.
All right. Good luck settling those claims out there.